Are you ready up there? Okay. That's as ready as you're going to get, right? Okay. Good evening. Welcome to Entertainment Central. We've got an entertainer tonight that comes to us all the way from Court 6. And we're going to pay your hotel bill. Yeah, I'm sure we are. Yeah, okay. But anyway, I think you're in for a fun evening. A couple of explanations. I'm going to turn the house lights down when Marvin starts playing. And I can't turn all the spots on, so he's kind of sitting in the shadows. I can't turn all the spots on because if I do that, it washes out the screen where you see his keyboard. And I think you'd rather see the keyboard than a washed out screen. So we'll work with it. But hey, do we have any Indiana natives here? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we got a few. Marvin was born and raised in Goshen, Indiana. And you went to school where? Woodbury? Middlebury. Same school for 12 years. And got plumbed through the 6th grade in those 12 years, right? Yeah. No, he graduated. But how long have you been here? Now, you moved to Colorado Springs after that, correct?
Yeah, well, I can't remember. 1980.
Okay, now these questions are only going to get tougher here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 1981, I think.
Okay.
I was in Colorado Springs for 28 years.
And you've been playing the accordion since you were like 12, correct?
Right.
I asked Marvin about that, and he said he was in the 5th grade when he started playing. And no, that's dedication for you. That's fantastic. And I like to watch what goes on with the keyboard, but what fascinates me is what goes on with the left hand, with all those buttons. And he's going to be talking about some of this stuff tonight. I think it's going to be very, very entertaining. So please put your hands together. Help me welcome Marvin Miller.
All aboard. Life is like a mountain railroad. And welcome to you who joined my television. And now, this evening, I want to do a number of different things. First of all, like Bob said, I'm going to show you a little bit how to play the accordion. In fact, by the time you leave tonight, you'll be able to play it. All you have to do is practice. And also some of the songs that I play tonight have some interesting stories that I want to tell you. But now, the first lesson, lesson number 1, I'm going to talk about the keyboard here. It's just like a piano or the organ. The only thing I want to say is middle C is not down here. Middle C is up here. And that's why when you see accordion players, they're usually playing up here rather than down here. And a lot of times when I play a song, I'll play 2 verses. And the second verse, I usually go up an octave and play up an octave. That's why you'll see. And you'll see me do that in this next song, I'll Fly Away. Now, lesson number 2, we're going to talk about this hand. And like Bob said, this is a different story. This accordion is called a 120 bass accordion, which means I have 120 buttons here. You can get smaller accordions down to 12, and there's 48, and I've seen 56, and that number. But I have 6 rows here, 20 in each row. The first 2 rows are single notes, and they are called the counterbass row and the bass row. And as you can tell, or maybe you can't tell, I can't see my hand and I can't see the buttons. So right in the middle of the second row, there's a button marked. And let me repeat, it's a fake diamond, not a real one. I don't want anybody coming up here getting this. It's a fake. It's marked. So from C, I can know where I'm at. Okay. Now the third row is the major chord. Fourth row, the minor chord. Then the 7th chord, and then finally the diminished chord. So that's how this is organized. And usually a song that is written has 3 chords. And whoever designed the accordion knew what they were doing, because C has G, which is right above it, and F right below it. But I'm sure that many of the composers who wrote hymns and Christmas carols, as you'll see tonight, didn't like accordion players, because there's other chords that I have to end up jumping all over the place. So, now how do I play these buttons? In a song that's written in 3/4 time, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, not all songs are written in 3/4 time. Some of them are written in 4/4 time. So now we have to do a different routine on the hand. It's 1, 2. Now I'll do double time, which is play twice as fast and Imagine Over the Hilltop. Okay, now you know all the basics of a regular accordion. Now this accordion is a whole different dimension. When I was a junior in high school, I thought I had to have a bigger accordion, so I went to the local music store, and the owner sat down and he played an accordion that I couldn't believe. Back in them times, the accordions weren't electrical, and this one had an organ in it, and of course I had to buy it. But then, back in those days, I had a foot pedal. And when I put the volume on the foot pedal, that only controlled the organ because it was electronic. And I had a big amplifier beside me, and it had about 40 vacuum tubes. Remember those days? And I had about 100 wires going from there into the amplifier. Now I only have 6. But that technique there, that accordion, plus the one I just used before this one, is if I didn't move the bellows, but had the volume on, it was an organ solo. If I moved the bellows, I got the accordion sound. If I moved the bellows and the volume, I got both. Now this, as you probably didn't notice, I have no foot pedal. And so I had to learn it all over again about 1.5 years ago when I bought this. Now, let me explain what's going on. This accordion has 500 different sounds in it. And you'll find out very quickly why I say sounds, not instruments. Because many of the sounds, one sound might be an orchestra sound. Another sound might be a string quartet, or it might be an instrument solo, and this type of thing. And then this accordion has 4 channels, 2 channels to the keyboard, and 2 channels to this hand. So I bought this thing and received it on a Friday in April a year ago, and I spent the next 2 days, hours, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Because if you have 500 sounds, and I got 4 slots, what kind of arrangement do I want? And I decided that I was going to stay with the sound that I played with over the years, which is the organ and the accordion. And then from that basis, I make my variation, as I'll explain to you later. Now, as you can see, I don't have enough buttons on here for 500 sounds, so we go by numbers. So I have number 65 here. So let me go. Channel number 1 is 308. That is an accordion, an Italian accordion. 135 is a Hammond organ, and I play that on here. What I do on here, I can adjust the volume, the predominant sound that you hear is the accordion with the organ background. For my chords, for my bass, I have a bass guitar. And for my chords, again, a Hammond organ. And that's why I have the sound I have. I had the capability of memorizing and put in memory 128 different combinations. So I can do switching back and forth. Now, when you heard me play the last Sweet Hour Prayer and There Is a Fountain, you heard percussion. Well, I have 2 buttons up here. My hands are busy, so how do I switch them? I'm not always looking at the keyboard. I'm making a switch. So 66, I pulled the accordion sound out and put percussion in. So that's how that worked. For the next song, I'm going to put in 67, which is identical to 65. But the reason why I do that, I'm going to play the next song 3 times, and I have 3 different sounds going on. Number 68 will be bagpipes. 69 will be brass. Now, first of all, let me tell you a story. John Newton, and I tried to find out he is no relation to Bob Newton. John Newton was both a slave owner and a slave master. And as a slave master and an owner, he became familiar with the African music. The African music has only 5 notes to the scale, not 8 like we do. And when John Newton was converted and became a Christian, he wrote many hymns, and some of those he wrote in the pentat scale. And this next song I'm going to play for you, which means I can play them all using only the black keys. And you'll watch me do this. That's why, one of the reasons why I had him put them on the screen here. Now, to do that, I had to play in the key of G flat. So here's G, C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. I can't go down south much further. Okay. Now, John Newton wrote this song, and he called it New Britain, but it never caught on in England like it did here in America. And you all know the song by another name. Okay, we've heard from the bagpipes and the brass, but I'm going to feature a woodwind, a reed, on this next song, and farther along, the bassoon. Okay, we haven't heard from the strings yet. The next one I'm going to do a violin solo, and the second time through with the full orchestra and the background with the church organ. Henry Light was passing away, and he knew it. And shortly before his death, he wrote these words: "Abide with me, fast falls the eventide. The darkest deepness, Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me." This song has a unique distinction of never being sung in public that the writer heard. The first time it was sung was at his funeral. And now, abide with me. Okay, I'm going to try something different. I normally don't play the accordion this way, but I want to play it just to show you what can be done with this accordion. By the way, I've been playing this for a year and a half, and I haven't begun to scratch the surface of what we can do with it. But as I explained earlier, that I had two tones on the keyboard, and I have them playing simultaneously. Now, I just put it in a mode, and Oliver may have to turn up the volume because I can't control the volume, where if I pull softly on the bellows, you'll hear one sound, pull hard, another sound. So I'm going to play this with a trumpet and a tenor saxophone. I'm going to keep the same mode, so I have to keep the volume up. And here's an old classic. That was sound number 62 in the book. And I was looking at it a couple months ago, and there's number 63 had a fix on it. So I thought, what's that? And I haven't figured out a song to use this on. And maybe somebody will come up with a wise idea.
One, two, three, four.
Okay. That's a challenge I'll give you. Now we'll get serious. I'd like to play two songs tonight. The next two songs were written by teenagers. And I bet you didn't know that. And this one was written by Frederick Whitfield. I tried to look it up on the internet, and couldn't find much on it. And it could well be this was his only song that he ever wrote. And it's Oh, How I Love Jesus. The next one, unless you follow gospel music, you may have never heard this name. In fact, he's a contemporary of myself. I was 16 or 17 years old when this song was written, and Marlon Lefebvre was about half a year older than I was. He was the son of Alpheus and Eva Mae Lefebvre of the Lefebvre family, who were a gospel singing group. When he was 17, he went and joined the army. And in the army, he wrote these words: "Without him, I could do nothing. Without him, I'd surely fail. Without him, I would be drifting like a ship without a sail." He says that it took him 20 minutes to write both verses and the chorus, plus the music. He gets a leave of absence or a leave on a weekend and goes and hitchhikes some 600 miles across the country to Memphis, Tennessee, where his family was giving a concert. And when he gets there, his mother asks him to sing that song at the concert. And unbeknownst to him, there was another gentleman in the audience, that was about 10 years older than he was, in his mid-20s, 26, 27 years old. And after the concert, he asked for permission to go backstage to talk to Mylon. And he asked Mylon if he could use this song. A short time later, an album comes out on the market, "How Great Thou Art," and this song's in it. And about 3 months later, Mylon gets the royalty check of almost $90,000. That's a lot of money back in the 60s. And by the way, the gentleman in the audience was Elvis Presley. And now, without him. One of the reasons I like to play here at Glencroft, I get to play the old songs. And all of you have heard of Bill Gaither. He wrote many, many songs. He touched me in the upper room, because he lives, the family of God, the King is coming. But he was criticized once for wanting to sing the old song. He says, I sing them because they last. They're the good ones. And one cannot overlooked Fanny Crosby. She wrote many, many, many hymns in the past. And even though she was blind, she wrote them. And in fact, at one point, she was writing so many hymns that she was using a pseudonym because she was afraid her name would appear in the hymn book too often. That's the kind of person she was. But the story is told that she was active in missions, and she went to the state prison. And as she was ministering, that one particular day, the prisoners one by one would yell out, "Lord, don't pass me by. Lord, don't pass me by." With those words ringing in her ears, she wrote the following words: "Pass me not, O gentle Savior. Hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by." I'm going to introduce a new sound to you. It's called voice and orchestra. In Philippians 2, 9 through 11, parts of the verses read like this: "God highly exalted him and bestowed upon him the name which is above every name, so that at the name of Jesus every knee will bow, and that every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. All hail the power of Jesus' name. Let angels prostrate fall and bring forth the royal diadem and crown him Lord of all." What a day that will be when my Jesus I shall see, when he takes me by the hand and leads me through the promised land. What a day that will be. Years ago, when we used to give programs, another buddy and I, the Miller Accordionaires, that's the song we would normally close our concerts with. But it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So I thought I'd do a few Christmas songs to finish the program tonight. And I picked 3 favorites, if you want to call it that. The first one I want to play for you, I used to call it my favorite Puerto Rican Christmas carol. And the title of it is, "Tu dejaste tu trono." If you translate that into English, it means, now I can't think, but we just sang the song in church last Sunday. Thou left thy throne in glory, whatever the title is. Right now, senior moment. But I will play it in Spanish. They sing it a little differently. Now, I took the Spanish hymnal out, and I took the English. The notes are identical, but there are accidentals or whole notes in it that are different. And I hope you like the Spanish version of "Thou Leave Thy Throne." That's what it is. In closing, I would like to play two more carols, but I like to play them back to back as a medley. Sometimes when I'm practicing at home, I feel like I'm worshiping. And I invite you to worship with me as first of all, I play my favorite and then everyone's favorite.
Marvin Miller. Thank you, Marvin. That was not only entertaining, it was educational, too. We really appreciate you. Before I do the wrap-up, I got to tell you, I was talking with Marvin before we started, and I think it might be a question that a lot of people ask. There's a keyboard on that accordion. There's a keyboard over there. So I asked Marvin, I said, can you play the piano as well? And he said,
Yeah, if I'm laying on the bench.
if he's laying on the bench. But if you think about it, he's not looking at the keyboard directly like the piano player does. He's looking down one end of the keyboard. So the next time you come into the auditorium, the piano is playing, but you don't see anybody. It's him laying on the bench. Okay. Thank you, Marvin. You did good. A quick wrap-up. Tomorrow morning on Getting to Know You, it's Bob and Lois Montgomery. And don't forget devotions at 9 o'clock on Channel 4. Then after devotions, it's Getting to Know You. Then Sunday, of course, the Sunday services here are at 10 a.m. like they usually are, but something very, very special coming to the auditorium Sunday night at 6 o'clock. And I guarantee you it's going to be wonderful. The Central Community Choir is going to be here. There's a write-up in the Communicator, right on the front page of the Communicator. It's about 50 different voices from 10 different area churches. And it's going to be spectacular. That's Sunday night, so please don't miss that. Then Monday at 3:30 in the afternoon, back here at the auditorium for the GCA community meeting. And then Monday night at 6:45, actually it's Monday night and Tuesday night, the Trenbeth family going to have their annual Christmas concert and recital. And you all are invited. It's kind of fun to watch. It's a bunch of kids playing, and they're very, very, very good. Okay, let me see. That takes us up to Tuesday. Then Friday, here in the auditorium, it's going to be a whole different story in the auditorium this coming Friday because it's the annual Christmas dinner here in the auditorium. Now, if you don't have a reservation yet, I don't know. I really don't know if all